Obviously, it was really important for me to come here to Newfoundland to see the level of devastation, but also to be reminded of the strength of Newfoundlanders. What we're seeing, even as people have lost so much, as the damage is worse than any pictures could do credit to. We see community and the strength of community coming together time and time again. Volunteers here at the Salvation Army, volunteers at the Lions Club, volunteers across town, and in communities along the coast. It's not just here in Port aux Basques, it's right across the country, right across the province that people have been hit, and we're seeing folks come together. Really important for me to be here today with Minister Hutchins and Minister O'Regan, who have spearheaded the federal government response. But Andrew, your leadership through this time as Premier, and the way we've been able to work together, federal government and provincial government, to be there for folks. You made a big announcement this morning, and we will be there to support you and to support people directly in that. These are all things that we need to continue to do. Mayor Button, your leadership here has been exceptional. I know people throughout town have just been talking about how everyone has been able to come together, and that's really the story of this. Right across the country, Canadians are coming together. We're now at close to $10 million in donations to the Red Cross, which we've committed to match, so that's $20 million directly to Fiona relief. But there's more to do, and I know people are going to continue to work hard to get their lives back together, and governments will be there for the coming days, for the coming weeks, for the coming months, and indeed the coming years if that's necessary, because we'll be there as long as it takes. We know particular areas are harder hit. When I was down at Cape Breton and Prince Edward Island, there was a lot of concern around agriculture. I can tell you that our agriculture department is reaching out to farmers across the Atlantic to make sure that they know that we're there supporting them. The same thing with fishers. I know fishing communities have been very, very hard hit. Fisheries and Oceans will be there for them as they try and measure the impact of the damages and work towards replacing lost gear and lost livelihoods. And of course, we know small businesses of all different types are being hit with this, which is why tomorrow we're going to announce relief on filing deadlines for businesses dealing with GST and various filing deadlines. We want them to focus on getting their businesses back up and running. So that's what we'll be focused on. One last thing in English. This morning I spoke with President Zelensky and emphasized that Canada will never recognize the phony referendums that Vladimir Putin put forward in eastern Ukraine. It is an attempt by Putin to redraw the map arbitrarily, and the world knows and sees what he's doing, and Canada will continue to lead the charge on standing up against Putin's irresponsible geopolitical behavior. We stand in support of Ukraine. We'll be strengthening sanctions. We'll be sending more military aid, more humanitarian aid, and we'll continue to bring the world together in support of Ukraine and pushing back on Vladimir Putin. C'est un moment important pour moi d'être ici à Port aux Basques, à Terre-Neuve, pour rencontrer des gens qui ont été tellement affectés par cette tempête, qui sont en train de nettoyer, de ramasser leur vie. Et on voit à quel point ça a été un moment extrêmement difficile, mais on voit aussi à quel point les gens sont là les uns pour les autres. C'est la force de la communauté ici à Terre-Neuve et Labrador, mais c'est la force des Canadiens d'un bout à l'autre de ce pays. Je peux dire que la ministre Hutchins puis le ministre O'Regan ont été là sur le terrain, sont présents pour les gens. Je suis très content d'être ici avec le Premier ministre Fury, avec qui on travaille de très proche pour s'assurer qu'on soit en train de livrer pour les gens tout ce dont ils ont besoin pour les jours, les semaines, les mois et même les années si nécessaire. Nous allons être là. Andrew a annoncé un 30 millions d'aides immédiates. Le gouvernement fédéral va faire partie de ça, va être là pour aider les gens dans les moments difficiles à venir. Les Canadiens ont été là à travers le pays aussi. On a vu que les dons via la Croix-Rouge sont en train de dépasser le 10 millions de dollars, ce qui veut dire 20 millions avec les fonds du fédéral qui vont les égaler. On voit à quel point, même dans les pires moments de tragédie, de perte, les Canadiens se rassemblent, la force de communauté, la force de caractère, particulièrement ici à Terre-Neuve et Labrador, ça se voit très bien. Finalement, ce matin, j'ai eu la chance de parler au président Zelensky de l'Ukraine pour lui réitérer que le Canada ne va jamais accepter les résultats farfelus de faux référendums que Poutine a tenus dans les secteurs occupés de l'Ukraine. C'est un essai de Vladimir Poutine de redessiner les cartes de façon tout à fait arbitraire. Et non seulement le Canada et nos alliés, mais on va s'assurer que les pays partout dans le monde ne reconnaissent pas ces référendums qui n'ont aucun fondement dans la réalité. Le Canada, évidemment, va continuer d'être là avec plus de sanctions qu'on va annoncer très bientôt, avec plus d'aide militaire, avec plus d'aide humanitaire et, comme on fait toujours, de mobiliser la communauté internationale, de continuer de se tenir fort contre Vladimir Poutine et avec les Ukrainiens. It's just a real pleasure to be here. Thank you all for coming to highlight the incredible strength of the community that we're seeing here in Basques and right across Newfoundland and the Atlantic provinces.
Prime Minister, with the cold weather setting in, hundreds of people in this region are without suitable homes right now. When can they expect to see federal funding so that they may begin to rebuild their lives?
Obviously, people are right now just trying to figure out how to get through one day at a time, but we know with cold weather coming, with winter approaching, they're going to need longer-term solutions. That's why the federal government will be there. As we said, the Premier announced a $30 million package. The federal government will be part of that. We're going to continue to step up as necessary. The one thing that we've seen already is the level of strength of community as people have been there to support each other. The federal government, the provincial government, municipal leadership, we're all going to be working together to make sure that people get settled by winter. Nous savons à quel point les gens sont peinés, les gens ont de la misère à passer à travers ces premiers jours, mais nous allons être là non seulement pour maintenant, mais pour les semaines et les mois et les années à venir si nécessaire. La province a annoncé 30 millions d'aides directes pour les gens. Le gouvernement fédéral va faire partie de ça et va continuer d'être là pour aider dans le besoin aussi longtemps que nécessaire.
Next question. Oui, Monsieur Trudeau, on n'a pas vu beaucoup de soldats sur le terrain en train de travailler réellement avec les résidents. Comment expliquez-vous la lenteur des soldats comparativement à d'autres provinces ou même au Québec aux inondations 2019, ils étaient là le lendemain. Pourquoi c'est si lent?
Comme vous savez, le gouvernement fédéral n'a pas seulement répondu immédiatement quand il y a eu une demande pour l'assistance, on avait déjà prépositionné les effectifs pour être capable de répondre immédiatement. Je sais que la province a renouvelé, a ajouté des éléments dans la demande pour assistance et la réponse est toujours oui. Il y a à peu près, il y a un peu plus que une centaine, 120 soldats sur le terrain maintenant à Terre-Neuve-Labrador. Il y en a 70 de plus sur le Margaret Brooks. Nous allons être là avec toute l'aide nécessaire, aussi longtemps que nécessaire, aussi immédiatement que possible, mais nous sommes en train de répondre aux demandes de la province. We responded immediately to the request for assistance, and indeed we had pre-positioned military supports, logistical support, so that we'd be able to respond even before the storm hit, because we knew it was going to be a bad one. We didn't quite know how bad, but it's better to be pre-positioned. I can say there's 100 to 150 soldiers on the ground in Newfoundland right now, with a further 70 on the Margaret Brooks doing community wellness checks along the coast. We're going to continue to be there with whatever is needed as quickly as is needed, because that's what the Canadian Armed Forces are there, and quite frankly, the women and men of the Canadian Armed Forces are always so pleased to be able to step up and support communities in need like this one.
Last question. It's about cell phone services. The Premier of Nova Scotia is kind of blasting the telecoms for poor service and not being very transparent during the situation. And he's saying Ottawa and has the power to actually issue an order to kind of force them to be more transparent and build stronger infrastructure. Are you going to commit to that? And do you have a comment on the situation?
When we saw the challenges with Rogers this summer, I can tell you that the Minister of Innovation, Science and Industry, Minister Champagne, was immediate in convening the telcos to make sure that this never happened again. I know that he is pulling together the group of the telcos tonight to make sure that they are properly coordinating, to make sure that people have the service they need, to make sure that there is transparency and accountability. People rely on telecommunications, particularly in moments of disaster, but of rebuilding, and we expect those telecom companies to step up and to be there for it. Nous savons que c'est essentiel d'avoir les télécommunications en situation de crise comme ça, en situation d'aider les gens qui ont perdu énormément. C'est pour ça que le ministre Champagne est là pour rassembler les telcos ce soir, pour pouvoir mettre l'emphase sur le fait qu'ils doivent être transparents, doivent être rapides pour répondre et doivent pouvoir aider les gens qui souffrent à travers les provinces de l'Atlantique.
Can I ask one more just quick one about the funding? Like you're mentioning the $30 million that was announced by the province today. I didn't hear anything about another program coming from your government. Like we heard a bit about businesses, like fisheries, but people are literally homeless, like displaced. Like is there anything coming like in the immediate future from your government to help those people?
The way it works in Canada is the provinces are the ones who deliver the supports directly to people because they have the folks on the ground, they are there. The federal government flows as much money as is necessary to the provinces to be able to do that. It's something that, you know, it's like in a community. If one house gets washed out, the rest of the community pulls around them. When one part of the country is hurting, the rest of the country delivers for that part of the country. This is how this country works. That's why we can stand here side by side and say, as long as it takes, whatever it takes, we will work together to help people through this. Merci beaucoup tout le monde.
Further down. Sorry. Yeah, I understand.
That's two stories. Every lake is wide.
Yeah. Ellen, can you back up, please? Shot. Gathered up Newfoundland, gathered up Newfoundland. So what we're doing now is walking, talking, hugging, helping Eric.
Prime Minister, these are the same people involved in the forest fire a couple of months ago. So.
Yeah, we done what, 18 days straight. And keeping in mind, we're all volunteers. So everybody here, it's your holidays, their vacations, or whatever. And yesterday, we walked over 12 kilometers yesterday, just here in these two roads, basically sitting down listening to stories. So it's phenomenal. Oh, it's Newfoundland is true. And they will, like, we're getting a lot of you'd have to take it to a car with them.
Every 20 seconds, and just come back this way.
Two-story apartment building. And the two-story apartment building we were in yesterday, it was like it just went.
All the way across it.
Like, well, everything is the same, and that it looks like you can move in around that end. And I think that village was worth the. But out that.
You know,
Right
that's
there.
that you couldn't build it there.
No.
So,
And you take some pictures. We can gather them whatever we can. Take care. Well, no worries. We'll be walking. You guys are amazing.
How are you guys doing? Thanks for coming out to help. Yeah. It's awesome to see you all.
How we all doing, guys?
Yeah, no.
Good Deeds Cup? You're gonna win the Good Deeds Cup?
Here, you guys are pretty strong.
You guys are
Moving all those
a
bags,
bit old to
eh?
be playing in this.
Good job, guys. Good job. So you were moving all those bags? How are you guys?
good.
So were the bags heavy? Some of them were? You did an awesome job. Awesome job.
You guys know this Alan right here?
Yeah.
How are you?
Ellie.
Nice to meet you. I'm Seamus.
How you doing, Mom?
Nice to meet you. They came up to help the team.
Right on. Best team on the island.
I think they're ready for it. Good job today, guys. Keep going.
You ran out of the shoes, the bicycle shoes on, eh? What'd you guys do when you ran out? Did you get in the car? Or did you run
Yep. Yeah, sure.
Here we are. Actually, you guys can touchdown in the program, you'll be in it for sure.
Guy just making sausage, okay?
Under 13.
Everyone else down on one knee. Perfect. Here we go. We look up at Adam. Perfect. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you.